informing you about that. Our soils is actually declining in organic matter. The clay soils on Zealand and also on Fyn are quite similar to the soils in Skåne. And they are declining. We have a decline about 15 to 30 kilos a year. So that means that the mineralization process actually uses the pools. The pools getting smaller and smaller.
And you can observe this?
Yeah,
Yes.
we have a square grid in Denmark. We have 800 profile informations from a 7-kilometer square grid covering whole Denmark. And in last part of 1980 or something, these were resampled, and the first time they were sampled it was in mid-80s. And we could see on the sandy soils we have a little build-up. We don't know if it is due to the CN ratio in the soil, or it is due to that we have high concentration of dairy farms there, and they have more grassland and so on. So the organic matter that is added to the soil is higher there compared to the arable land. We don't know, but we can see it. And I also know that in Denmark we have lower values of leaching from nature and forest compared to Sweden, and we have measured it. We have not modeled it, because if you're modeling that way that the Swedes are doing, they do this 10,000 years of modeling, and then everything is equaled out because the organic pools are stable totally. That is actually the same as saying that we can make a balance. That is the same. But we are not doing that.
Sindre, you had a question?
Yeah, I have a question which is quite broad and sort of, in a way, encompassing the whole seminar. And I started off with these concepts that we will touch upon today. And in the middle there was the N and P. However, I know and you know that the focus on N or P and P differs among the countries.
Yeah.
And we have, as in Finland, they do not have a culture of catch crops. Okay.
No.
We also have different culture with the perspectives on these two different nutrients. And could you reflect a little bit on the history of your strong N focus, which I think you are sharing with Poland, Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia, while Sweden and Finland has a stronger P focus, relatively speaking, and how that has sort of influenced these water plans and your current thinking, and as well reflecting on the fact that the EU is now developing policies on phosphorus, knowing that it's a limited resource and so on. Anything wise to tell us?
Yeah. First of all, in mid-80s we had these areas in Denmark, the Dead Sea, dead areas with fish dying and so on, and it was very high story in the news. Then our Minister of Environment said, yes, we have to do something, we have to set up an ambitious plan because it is the nitrogen, and the nitrogen is actually the limiting factors out at the open sea and also in estuaries, whereas the P is often in the lakes, are they limiting. So therefore we had the focus out there. We want to save the sea, and therefore things were set up to, and also implemented to actually reduce nitrogen leaching. We had a very high load of nitrogen because we have so much intensive agriculture. We have above 60% of our land is agriculture, and we have a very short distance between the source, between the field and actually the sea, compared to Finland, compared to Sweden, and so on. So therefore, the focus was on that perspective. Over the years, more and more interest has been put into the phosphorus part, but the focus has always also with the nitrate directive been on the nitrogen. Solve that first, because with phosphorus we do not have that much overland transport, surface transport to the streams because we are pretty flat. But we have done something to phosphorus. We have, I think, in the start of this 2000, around 2000, we had buffer strips around all these major small lakes and rivers, 2-meter buffer strips. That was, but now people are talking, and in the water plains and with green growth, they are talking about 10 meters buffer strips. And these 10-meter buffer strips, if you have a very hilly area, they would be very efficient in relation to overland flow to actually stop the surface transport. But with these fairly flat areas, 2 or 5 meters is the same in relation to phosphorus transport needed. But in relation to nitrogen, it can have some effect because the direct transport, it has to go through drainage system and so on, or deeper soil layer. So that's why. I hope it's a little answer. Yeah?
Thank you very much. Now it says coffee and group discussion. So, 30 minutes.
Yes, and we haven't fixed any specific questions. So I think the idea here, Gunnar, if you don't have a different